1, 2, 3, come on!
Annyeong! Hello guys! So welcome back to my channel. So again, this is teacher MYlabs, and I have a good news guys. Nasa 200 subscribers na tayo! So nag-300 na tayo guys, no? So keep on sharing para makatulong din tayo sa ibang mga bata sa pagsagot ng kanilang mga modules. So let's start! So for this vlog, the topic is all about rational algebraic expression, and the learning competency is illustrates rational algebraic expressions. This is based on the mathematics module of grade 8 from the DepEd. So, let's go! First, let's define what is a rational algebraic expression. When we say rational algebraic expression or RAE, gamitin natin yan para mas mabilis, no? It is an expression that can be written in the form P over Q, where P and Q are polynomials and Q must not be equal to 0. Or in symbols, Q is not equal to 0. So for example, ayan, so we have 5 examples. Letter A, we have 2x over x plus 1. B, y squared minus 1 over y minus 3. C, 6b plus 1 all over b cubed minus 2b plus 2. D, 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 over 1. And E is 3x. So, lahat ng to ay example ng RAE, where the denominator of the fraction is not equal to 0. How can we say that an expression is a rational algebraic expression or RAE? Paano nga ba natin malalaman na itong expression na to ay RAE, ito ay hindi? So, here's a useful checklist in identifying whether the given expression is a rational algebraic expression or not. First, the expression must be in ratio or fraction form. So, yun yung una, no? Kailangan siya ay naka-fraction form. Numerator over denominator. Next, the expression must have a numerator and denominator, of course, a constant, variable, or a combination of both that are polynomial expressions. And the last one, the expression must not have a negative exponent, a radical sign, or a fraction exponent in the variable in both numerator and denominator. Para mas malinaw, let's have some more examples. So for our example, we will identify which among these examples are RAE or not. Let's start with number 1. Given 3x over 2y. Is it RAE or not? So balikan natin yung checklist. Sabi doon, kailangan naka-fraction. Naka-fraction naman. Second, meron daw variable, may constant, or polynomials. Yes. Pangatlo, wala daw exponent, walang radical. Correct. Number 1 is a RAE or rational algebraic expression. So this is RAE. Next, number 2. So, balikan mo lang yung checklist. Correct, it is a fraction. Yes, may variable siya. But, correct, this is not an example of a RAE. Bakit? The denominator is m minus m. And m minus m is equal to 0. So, sabi natin mula nung simula, RAE is an expression which the denominator should not be equal to 0. Kaya ang number 2 natin is not an example of RAE. Number 3. Correct. This is not an example because of the radical symbol. Number 4. Correct. Hindi rin yan na-achieve yung ating nasa checklist number 3. Yung wala rin dapat ni fractional exponent. Nasusundan ba? Let's proceed to example 5 to 8. Next, for 5 to 8, number 5, 7x. O, balikan mo yung checklist mo. Na-achieve ba niya yung mga characteristic ng RAE? Correct. This is an example of RAE. Bakit? Ma'am, wala naman siyang denominator. Meron. It is imaginary 1. So, ang denominator natin is 1, not 0. So, still it is RAE. 6. Of course, kitang-kita naman. Ang denominator ay 0, so this is not an example of RAE. 7. So, fraction, may variable, wala namang radical, walang exponent. Correct? This is RAE. And last one. Still, this is RAE. So, questions about rational algebraic expression? Comment down below pag may questions na. Okay. So, let's recall that rational algebraic expression is a fraction containing polynomials in both numerator and denominator, provided that the denominator must not be equal to 0. What is the reason bakit hindi pwedeng maging 0 yung denominator? It's because division of 0 is always undefined or meaningless. Kahit na gumamit pa kayo ng calculator, tapos i-divide nyo sa 0, ang lalabas doon ay undefined or error. In RAE, there are some values that are excluded or left out, known as excluded values. When we say excluded values, these are values that will make the denominator of RAE equal to 0. So, kung naalala nyo kanina, may mga example tayo doon na ang denominator ay variables or polynomial. Now, let's have now excluded values. Kasi yung ating mga RAE kanina, pwede yung maging not rational kapag ang denominator ay naging 0. So, here are the steps in determining excluded values. Paano nga ba natin gagawin yun para malaman natin kung ano yung mga values na pwedeng maging dahilan kung bakit yung ating mga given expression are not RAE. So, first, let the expression in the denominator be equal to 0. Next, solve the equation to determine the value or values of the variable. Para mas malinaw, let's have our example. 6 over x minus 3. So, yan ay example ng rational algebraic expression. Correct. Now, ano kaya ang excluded values? Or yung value na kapag sinubstitute natin dyan, yan ay magiging hindi na example ng RAE. Now, let's try. So, for example, 6 over x minus 3. So, first step natin, let the expression in the denominator be equal to 0. So, study tip, mag-focus muna tayo kay denominator, which is x minus 3. Sabi niya, let the expression be equal to 0. So, ito na siya. X minus 3 is equal to 0. Next step, Solve the equation to determine the values of the variable. So, isolve na natin. So, we have x. To eliminate 3 in the left side, so mag-a-add tayo both side ng positive 3. So, x minus 3 plus 3 and 0 plus 3. Bakit tayo nag-add again? To eliminate negative 3 in the left side. Addition property. So, x negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So, x now is equal to 0 plus 3. X is equal to 3. So, this means that when x is equal to 3, the expression 6 over x minus 3 is undefined. Thus, x is equal to 3 is an example of an excluded value of the given RAE. Or, in other words, x cannot be equal to 3. What happens if we substitute it to the expression 6 over x minus 3? So, substitute natin, x is equal to 3. Then we have 6 over x minus 3. It is equal to, copy 6 over, ano yung x natin? 3. 3 minus 3. 6 over 3 minus 3 is 0. And 6 divided by 0 is undefined or meaningless. So, this is the excluded value for this rational algebraic expression. Let's have another example. Identify the values or value of n that will make the rational algebraic expression 18n plus 1 all over n squared plus n minus 2 is undefined. So, hahanapin natin ngayon si excluded value. Yung excluded value nitong RAE na to. So, first step, let's focus on the denominator. Let the expression in the denominator be equal to 0. So, we have n squared plus n minus 2 is equal to 0. Next, anong susunod na gagawin? Let's find for the value of n by the use of factoring. Very good. So, we have finished factoring on the first and 2 weeks of our module. Now, let's factor n squared plus n minus 2. Equal to 0. What is the factor of n squared? So, factor the first term, n times n. Then, think of a factor of the last term, which when you added, the answer will be 1n or n. Correct. It is negative 1 and positive 2. So, mayroon na tayong factors, n plus 2, then n minus 1. And by the use of the zero product property, i-equate natin yung ating factor sa 0. N plus 2 is equal to 0. And n minus 1 is equal to 0. Then, let's use the addition property of equality on the n plus 2 is equal to 0. Anong i-add natin sa positive 2 para siya ay ma-eliminate dito sa left side? Correct? It is negative 2. n plus 2 plus negative 2 equals to 0 plus negative 2. 2 plus negative 2 is 0. So, the remaining is n is equal to 0 plus negative 2, negative 2. So, the first excluded value is n is equal to negative 2. How about on the other factor? n minus 1 is equal to 0. So, the same. Let's use the addition property of equality. Anong i-add natin sa negative 1 to make it 0? Correct. It is positive 1. N minus 1 plus 1 is equal to, again, kung anong in-add mo dito sa left side, ganun din sa other side. 0 plus 1. And negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Equals to 0 plus 1, 1. So, the other excluded value is n is equal to negative 1. So, dalawa yung ating excluded values. To recheck, ganun din. We need to substitute it to the rational algebraic expression. Try natin. Okay, let's check. So, let's start with the first excluded value, which is n is equal to negative 2. So, let's substitute para ma-recheck natin. 18, ang n natin ay negative 2 plus 1 over n squared is n natin negative 2 squared plus, and again, substitute is negative 2 minus 2 is equal to 18 times negative 2 is negative 36 plus 1. Next, negative 2 squared. You multiply it by itself, so it will be positive 4 plus negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Then, negative 36 plus 1 is negative 35 over 4 minus 4 is 0. So, tama nga na ang negative 2 ay excluded value of this expression. How about n is equal to 1? So, substitute din natin. 18 times n is 1 plus 1 over n natin is 1 squared plus, again, 1 minus 2. 18 times 1, 18 plus 1 over, multiply by itself, 1 times 1, 1 plus 1 minus 2 is negative 1, correct? Then simplify, 18 plus 1 is 19 over 1 minus 1 is 0. So, it is correct that n is equal to 1 is an example of the excluded value of the expression 18n plus 1 over n squared plus n minus 2. And that is excluded value. We have finished discussing about excluded value. Now, there are also some values that will make the expression defined. How are we going to inspect it? So, the process is called evaluating expression. So, may mga values naman tayo na pwedeng mag-define dun sa ating expression. Pwede siyang hindi excluded value. Ang tawag sa process na yun ay evaluating expression. And to evaluate an algebraic expression, you have to substitute a number for each variable and perform the arithmetic operations. So, for example, the expression y squared minus 1 over y minus 3 when y is equal to 4. So, let's try. So, let's substitute y is equal to 4. Sundan lang natin to. Y squared, so 4 squared, minus 1, all over, again, y is 4, minus 3. So, let's simplify. 4 squared, you multiply by itself, so 4 times 4 is 16, minus 1, over 4 minus 3 is, correct, it is positive 1. 16 minus 1, correct, it is 15 over 1 or 15. Then, y is equal to 4 of the expression y squared minus 1 over y minus 3 is equal to 15. So, itong y is equal to 4 is not an example of excluded value, but it is a value which makes the expression defined. Another example, we have 5x squared plus 6x minus 11 over 1 when x is equal to 2. So again, substitute the value of x. So we have 5, x is 2 squared plus 6. The value of x again is 2 minus 11 over what? So we have 5. 2 squared is 4, correct? Plus 6 times 2 is 12 minus 11 over 1. 5 times 4, correct? It is 20. Plus 12 minus 11 over 1. Now, 20 plus 12, correct? It is 32. And 32 minus 11, it is 21 over 1, or simply 21. Meaning, when our x is equal to 2, the expression 5x squared plus 6x minus 11 over 1 is equal to 21. Made our expression defined by the use of the value x is equal to 2. And that ends for our topic for this vlog. So, kung may questions kayo, gustong malinawan, just comment it down below. And please share it to your kapwa students para mas madalian sila sa pagsagot ng modules. And please subscribe! Road to 300 na tayo, guys. So, thank you for watching. And give me likes. And click the notification bell, no, guys. So, keep safe. Love ya!